Hello, everybody. My name is Steady Bear Thunderheart. Of course, you all know me by now as Bear. And in this video today, I'm definitely going to be talking about a very particular subject that's been going on in our world today. And so, definitely, I'm just going to go ahead and cut to the chase about this. And this video is about social distancing, is what it's called. So let me see if I can block this out. Oh, yeah, good. All right. So, social distancing is the name of this video. And what do I mean by social distancing? Well, let's go back to what's been going on. Of course, about a couple months ago or so, I spoke about the coronavirus, aka COVID-19. This particular virus has been, accordingly, to various sources, spread around the world, and basically it's been going on since from China, but it also went to other countries, then came here in the United States and things like that, and so forth. And then of course there has been a lot of different things that have caused this thing, from people not eating right to for certain vaccines that has been going on, has been created, and things of the sorts. So what's been going on too now, as a result of that, there has been a panic regarding a pandemic that's been going on with the coronavirus and COVID-19, to a point now that Donald Trump and various other government officials in the United States and even all over the world are telling people to have social distancing so that this virus will not spread, because they can only be spread through contact, supposedly, and things like that, not airborne. But if it was really as airborne as a lot of people feared, I think more people would have been sick and more people would have been in more trouble. So social distancing is what it is. It's like people have to stand 6 feet away from each other, like in grocery stores or, things like that. They cannot talk, they can't congregate, they can't really socialize with just anybody for too long, or at least not close to each other too much. Or at least if you're going to come with people, have a family, have at least, like a family or people that not congregating with strangers, things like that. Because this particular solution, supposedly social distancing, it's a way to keep people from getting sick and continue to at least take the viruses down. Which, of course, now in China, they pretty much got the virus contained now as of this time frame. And not to mention the idea now that the United States, their problem is starting to lower, even though the media would like to go around and say that it's getting worse, which is not the truth. It's just the media and various other people in our society are using a bunch of scare tactics to scare the people. And so with the social distancing, what this really is to get people to not to socialize too much and to stay in their homes, stay separate from each other, not to get too close with each other and things like that. So that may be one way to stop the diseases and so forth, and it has gone down in many ways. But I think even without social distancing, it would have gone down, because the virus was supposed to be made to, was not as strong as people thought it was. People really didn't think. People thought that the virus was so strong, even though yes, a little over 100 people died, but it wasn't like 1 million or 100 million died. You get what I'm saying? So that's basically less about. So some people, if you want to do the math, which I've actually seen people done some math, it turns out to be like about even less than 1%. Something about like 0.000. Actually it's 0.00003% or something like that of the population around the whole entire planet that have actually died of this disease. So my condolences to those, people who have lost their lives and the families who had to lose their loved ones because of that. Now, for those who caught the virus and actually got healed from that and cured and healed, they have built immunity to it. So, therefore, they're not going to be contagious anymore, nor are they really going to be sick anymore after that either. They built immunity to this. So those who have survived are now living and even stronger than ever. So kudos to those who have survived. I just thought I'd get that out of the way and say that, because too many people, like I say, are so scared of this virus and so scared of so many things that are going on, that the media all of a sudden has been throwing out the fear porn, as they say, and been doing scare tactics such as, you need to get more toilet paper before you run out and things like that. And so, but before I go too far into this, let me actually go back a bit and say certain things about what I really feel about this social distancing situation here. Now, what was I would say? Okay, see, social distancing. You see, it took me some time to reflect a lot about myself, relationships, and what I've seen with relationships throughout the years around me, society, and things like that, and even the world. And I cannot really speak too much for the rest of the world, even though I could probably say a few things about it, but really it's regarding the United States of America society that I'm going to speak about. Now, it could be the world too, so if anyone else that lives overseas or other countries that are experiencing what I'm about to say, go ahead and leave me some comments or and let me know what you feel about it. But here's the idea. The idea is they say social distancing started happening around, I would say, March, anywhere from March 13th and now and things like that, or maybe even before. But here's the idea, though. Have always been social distancing for a longer time than people realize. What I mean by that, what I meant is that social distancing has always been happening. It just hasn't been labeled as such before, since the coronavirus, COVID-19, has arrived, so to speak. So what am I really saying here? What I'm saying here is that from the last 20 or some odd years, there has been social distancing all over our society. Perhaps even, I'm sure, like I said, even in other countries around the world. What I mean by that is there has been social distancing from people connecting with each other. People have not totally connected with each other face to face a certain way. There hasn't been much, except people have been getting on their smartphones, social media, and various other things. In other words, the connection has been lost. The connection really to be with their family. People couldn't even be eating dinner, couldn't eat dinner with each other without checking their smartphones or be on their smartphones, but rather than putting the phone down and actually talking and actually interacting with each other. There hasn't been that in so many people. So social distancing has already been happening. It's just now that the rules, now that the government and everyone else is telling you to get to do social distancing from the stores with their telecom saying you gotta stand 6 feet or 9 feet away from each other and all this other stuff. The thing about it is that a lot of people, and I'm even saying myself to some degree, have all practiced social distancing for many years already. We've been practicing social distancing. We've been doing this to each other. We've been abusing each other and doing all kinds of stuff, trying to, one up each other, and just a lot of different things, competition-wise, from whether it's your job, your work, jobs, different things in your life, or people fighting amongst each other and family members fighting each other. It's just a lot of different things that I have seen throughout the years and what's been going on in our society. I mean, we have really lost our connection to a point where now it has been forced upon us to do this in a sense. So, whose fault is it really? I would have to say in many ways that, even though I don't like to point fingers too much and all that, but let's be honest. We did this all to ourselves. We did this to ourselves. The government and the media have played a lot with it, had a lot to do with it, basically. They played all of us. We played ourselves as well. What I mean by that is, when the media basically lies to you and deceives you, and that's not even news reporting anymore. They're just gossiping, just like what we all do, or what many of you all do when you have a problem with a certain person, or when you don't get along with a certain person, or when you can't even have a real relationship. You would say one thing in their face, but then behind their back you would say something to someone else about this one person. These kind of things are growing, and they have grown throughout the years on a collective scale too. Not just individual groups, but on a collective scale too. You see? So what it is I'm saying here is that social distancing, we created this on ourselves in that way. Now we just have a problem with it. Many people have a problem with it because now it's been forced upon us. It's been forced. It's been saying by our president or from various other people, you can't be doing this anymore. Even though we did this to ourselves. So it's okay to do it, when we had our choices to actually interact with people and everything. And we start socially distancing ourselves through a phone or through online. And yet, Here's my example. People like to talk online and like to talk, as far as like, let's just say on Facebook, okay? For instance, Facebook, people like to private message each other and so forth. And yet, when it really comes down to get deeper and get to a more connected level, or at least to do this, people all of a sudden be afraid. Like they don't pick up the phone and actually call and talk to you. Or you ask them, hey, do you want to do video chat? Let's get to know each other via video chat or a teleconference and so forth. Oh, no, I don't want to do this. I'm too busy. I want to make sure my time's not wasted. Or you're trying to sell me something. These kinds of stupid-ass excuses that, that I've been seeing throughout the years, not only towards myself and my wife, but also I've seen it with other people too. You see, that's the idea. People could talk all you want and type on a keyboard, but when it all comes down to it, you guys don't have enough nerve or even, or courage, I would say, to actually interact with somebody. And not just that, but, now it's one thing to be able to not have a video chat to say so for people to see you. But it's another thing to always just say, oh, I don't want to talk, like verbal talk. And actually, you get to hear the person, you get to hear each other, things like that. Or pick up the phone. People don't want to do that anymore. You see? That's what I'm talking about. People don't want to really interact or network, and people like to say, well, I'm did a network. But obviously, they're not doing it, in a way that's supposedly, like, as far as when you network, you're actually supposed to take it further and see how far you can go with with the relationship, and if you can develop a friendship or whatever, that's fine. But I think people nowadays have been so burned, and not to mention too much of the people trying to take advantage of each other and things like that, that people start not trusting in friendships. And I have been one of them too, that have not trusted in too many people to bring them in, due to the fact that people have not proven, not only to me trustworthy, but also other people and each other trustworthy. I've seen too many backstabbings. I've seen too many people who just want to be friendly, but yet they always want something out of you. Which, by the way, there is a give and take in every relationship. Don't get me wrong. There is a give and take. But what kind of give and take are we talking about? Are we talking about like actual friendships that can give and take in a way where everyone wins? Or is it a relationship where only a certain person wins or certain people win, but other people lose? You see what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying this because that's what's been happening for the last 20 years. A lot of people are so afraid of this quote-unquote pandemic of the coronavirus, yes, and it's been real, and people have been sick on this. And at the same time, there has been a pandemic that has been happening for many more years before this virus that has happened. We're called psychic vampirism. Psychic emotional vampirism has really been an epidemic, according to clinical therapist, Dr. Judith Orloff. She was the one who quoted that this has become an epidemic, meaning psychic vampirism, and yet no one else has said anything. No one else has been panicking. No one else is going out buying masks. No one else is, wearing gloves every single turn. No one else is just washing hands every single turn. Really, were you guys really doing stuff like this beforehand? No. But because of the scare, because of this fear, because of all your shadows and different things that are coming out, you guys are in so much fear to a point where people are either acting, more as far as friendlier and nicer, and even to a point where the connection is actually happening, or to those who already are angry and or have their issues that are jealous and so forth like that, are even increasing even further. So this event, which is a very evolutionary, historic event of this world. In other words, after all this, we're not going to be the same again. At the same time, people still don't want to change. People still want to act up. People still want to do things thinking that there are no consequences. We have destroyed our planet so much to a point where Earth herself, Gaia, is starting to have enough. She's fed up. And so, the thing about it is, this could be a warning for us to really start to change to a way where could we start bringing balance back on this planet, start bringing balance back in our own lives, our own society, with our children and various other things, and ourselves too. And you see, the thing is, we've been cutting down trees. We've been eating certain foods that we have no business eating. I mean, we've been just destroying land and destroying everything else, and yet we're part of the problem because we're the ones in our society. We have to have everything from now and yesterday. So everything takes money, everything takes resources, but we're not utilizing our resources properly. We're burning it out. We're destroying resources just to get our quick fixes and things like that. Our microwave mentality. We've got to stop that. We have got to stop this mentality. We've got to stop just trying to always get everything or keep it up with the Joneses and everything else like that. We've got to put a stop to that. We've got to start thinking, oh, why can't we give back to the earth? Why can't we give back to our society and things like that? Because all this has been going on is take. That is a vampirism in and of itself too. Yes, it is. You know? And so, like I said, with the second vampirism being such an epidemic that has gone on in our society, it has spread more like wildfire. It's caused a lot of people to get sick, more so than the virus that we're talking about here. And certain people have died doing all kinds of stuff. It doesn't have to just be energy vampirism or anything just like that. It could just be vampirism as far as getting someone to shoot somebody or getting fights and different things like that. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that are going on, that went on throughout the years and that has created this situation now. See, this has been created. This was created for a long time, but a lot of people are now realizing that the only difference is that there's a label to it, and the difference is that someone else is telling you to have social distancing. But in all honesty, many people in our society have done this to ourselves. We've done this before. We did it to our own friends, family, other coworkers. I mean, it's such an idea that we're so disconnected. And I even have to ask you, when was the last time you spoke to your neighbors? When was the last time you really say hi and really chat with them and things like that? Because we'll chat with people in Ireland. But when was the last time we really chatted with our next door neighbor or something like that? And these are the kind of questions that even various people have asked us, Rainbow, myself. We've had our, time too when we were isolated from society, but we didn't necessarily ignore people. We just kind of left society for a little bit. We were isolated for a little bit, but at some point, we got back into it and started helping others and things like that. And at the same time, though, we don't really see a lot of people reciprocating with each other. I mean, there's one person that, maybe one person may want to reciprocate or do certain things with somebody, but other people be like, either they'll do it halfway to reciprocate, or they will dodge the question in a roundabout way, or they'll, lie or something like that, or they won't even give them an answer, a real honest answer. There's just so much of the foolishness that has gone on. And like I said before, because of the social media, and I'm not blaming social media at all, because social media has been one of the great things that's happened in our modern time. And at the same time, even the creators and various designers of social media themselves have, realized that they made some errors when they created social media, that they made some errors in how it was going to affect society or how it was going to change society. Even they are starting to realize it now. And even got to a point now, even some of them, like the Google CEO and various other CEOs of various social media companies have even stepped down because of different other things that are going on and some of the things that they've been guilty about, and it's even getting to a point now that even Bill Gates himself, who is definitely not a saint, has stepped down. Various other CEOs are stepping down. Why are they stepping down? There's reasons for that. Rainbow has already said that in a video called Wake Up. March 19, 2020. So go ahead and look that up too, and you're going to find out some answers. I'm not going to get into too much into all the other stuff, but there's so much out there too that people are not realizing. And people need to wake up and realize that, we've been had. We've been bamboozled. We've just been mind screwed, basically. Or at least you all been mind screwed for an instant. I've seen through all this. I've seen through the BS of the paper towel. I mean, fighting over paper towel? Really? Really? Fighting over paper towel. I mean, not paper towel, excuse me. Toilet paper. Toilets, paper. Sure, paper towel may not be too far in the... You know what? Maybe I'm picking up on something. Maybe paper towel will be the next people that people be fighting about. Oh, boy. I don't want to give y'all too many ideas, but the bottom line is that as far as toilet paper are concerned, why would y'all fight over toilet paper? There is so much food out there and so forth that y'all could be fighting about. Or you want to fight about water, that's one thing. I can understand food and water and air, and I can understand. But toilet paper? I mean, really. That just really tells me that how far the sheeple have gone down. How low-minded, how low vibration, how ignorant y'all are. It just amazes me how ignorant you all are. It just really amazes me. And the fact that the media could somehow have a good laugh about this, because I know they're laughing about it. I know they're laughing at you. I know that. It doesn't take, a genius to figure this out. And then on top of that, you guys have some nerve to then go around getting angry that we have to stand, that y'all have to stand in line and doing all kind of stuff. Well, you know what? Maybe if you guys had to be more critical in your thinking and not be so much fear, which is what drove you guys to do this to begin with, they would not find their ways. But these people are manipulators. These media people, these power players, these businessmen, they are manipulators. They know how to push your buttons, and they did a great job of doing that. Because now you have to stand in line at certain time frames to get toilet paper. Now you have to stand in a certain way to get toilet paper. I mean, seriously. I did not go about fighting over toilet paper. I mean, it's not worth it. It's not worth, me beating up somebody over toilet paper, and then what happens is what happens if you don't have your health to begin with? What good is wiping your own ass if you don't have good health? Think about it, folks. Think about it. And like I said before, I just feel definitely that we definitely need to get our priorities straight and really reevaluate ourselves. Now, as far as it's not just the psychic vampirism, but the people's shadows. People's shadows are coming out in more ways than people honestly realize. And the reason I'm saying this is because this is a time where people can either increase their light and really get it within themselves and find something better and improve themselves, like what I've been doing and so forth, or they could just get angry, they get bitter, they start to, act up. And I mean, people's shadows are coming out, especially if they're not dealt with, if they're not healed, if they're not looked at. And there are so many people who basically either claim their inner demon, basically have their inner demons that have not been healed, or shadows that have not been healed, or like friends they'll like mask it with alcohol, drugs, and things like that. And yet, when you have to really face yourself, when you have to face a situation or face different scenarios that triggers you, or that triggers a certain memory, or triggers a certain emotion, then people act up in different ways. I mean, people be acting up, like I said, like by fighting or doing stupid things. There's even people who are even starting to steal because they're so afraid that they're going to be starving to death, or they are not going to have the money. So there's people who are already, I would say, are into crime, are starting to take advantage of this, thinking, oh, this is a good time to take advantage of this. Well, we may not break into people's homes, but look what they're doing. They're breaking into businesses that are closed down because other businesses were ordered and to close down, close their shops, to prevent, spreading the disease and things like that. So different restaurants, different other businesses that are non-essentials, they are basically, like, for instance, breaking into vehicles, especially vans, getting into vans, and they're ramming towards the windows and breaking walls down with the vans so they can come out and steal as much money or whatever valuable items as they could, because they are so afraid of losing to a point where they feel now they have to be criminals, or they have to actually increase their criminal behavior or criminality in order to get the things that they need to or want, for that matter. They're using, a lot of people are using COVID-19 as an excuse to do things. It's not about, they can say, oh, it's COVID-19, I'm doing this because of COVID-19. Come on, really? You were doing certain things like this, you were being that way already. And if you weren't being that way, and if you weren't acting that way, you're acting that way now because you think you have that leeway to do so. and it's a poor excuse for certain bad behavior. Now, I'm not saying that people cannot defend themselves and so forth when the time comes, or if it does come to a point, and people should still stock up. People should still, be cautious about what they're doing. Don't be stupid and don't be abusing yourself. And at the same time, just keep it being in shape, keep a positive attitude, keep the best way, of way you're thinking, and start trusting in the point that you'll be provided more than enough. You could be provided for, food wise, everything else. This world is abundant. This universe is abundant. There's no need to be hoarding stuff, and that's what's been going on. This is the reason why there was a lot of fights over toilet paper and so forth. Was because of the fact that people are hoarding. They think there's not enough for everyone. It's like that mentality that gets us into so much trouble, in so many ways. Yeah, it's gotten us in so much trouble to a point where that's why now a lot of liberties are getting stripped from us and things like that for the time being. And like I said before, people, you done this. We've did this all to ourselves. The social distancing it already happened. It already was going on for years. But we did this to ourselves, and now we're upset because, what? I can't stand that. I can't do this. I can't say this. Now we're being forced to do it. There's a difference to that. And I mean, oh my goodness, wow. And then another thing too, I also wanted to bring up. I wanted to bring this up. There are a lot of times, when we do social media work and things like that, or people want to screw around on social media, everybody wants to claim, how many likes do I have, or how many friends do I have, and everything else too. And yet, there are people who have like thousands of likes or thousands of likes for first pages or thousands of friends or whatever, and yet, how many friends do they really have in actuality, in real time, in real life? How many people really have that? Have that real connection? And very seldom they do. I mean, I'm very fortunate. We're very fortunate right now to at least have some good amount, at least a good dozen or so connections in real life as well as on Facebook. And especially whether it's either local or especially when it's further away, as far as on long distance, because we do have clientele that's also long distance as well as local, and we're building more of it on both ends. And we've been very fortunate to actually have interactions and such, and they've been even very fortunate to have interactions with us to help them out and things like that. Now, not all relationships will work out a certain way. I'll admit to that. But at the same time, if you definitely keep always growing yourself in your own relationship with yourself and your loved ones and things like that, eventually you can actually extend that to other people around you. But and at the same time, unfortunately, not a lot of people have that mentality. They don't have that mentality to actually really have a relationship in a genuine, authentic way. And it's time we change that. We need to be more conscious about what we do and how we approach people and things like that. Because that's one of the reasons why this whole thing is going on. This is one of the big signs of things to be coming. And after all of this, if we don't change ourselves, it's going to be really hard for us to really, really move forward in this changing new world that's coming up. The world is changing as we speak. So we really have to, get our ducks in order and get in gear with this change, whether we like it or not. So we have to change ourselves within before everything else outside changes, because it's already changing around us. We just have to change with it. But first we have to change how we think of things, how we view things, how we view the world, and things like that. And as far as social media too is concerned, like I said, many people want to have different likes, different friends, and things of the sorts. And then everybody was all saying, "Oh look, this went viral. I want to go viral. This went viral. That went viral." And yet, when the virus goes viral, you guys get scared. You guys started panicking. You guys start going through all kinds of stuff when the virus gets viral. And yet you got flu viruses that got viral, and no one panics. You got all kinds of different things. We humans, in our Earth's history, have been through so many, how I say this, plagues, diseases, famine, all kinds of stuff. From the Black Death or the Black Plague, swine flu, all kinds of diseases, Ebola, AIDS, and AIDS are still around, and yet, where's the panic on that? HIV's around, where's the panic on that? Yet HIV and AIDS have created more deaths in the last, good Lord, 30 to 40 years than this virus of the COVID-19 overall. And we want to talk about 1 year alone, AIDS have actually caused more death than that. The flu has caused more death than this. Car accidents has caused more death than this. And if you want to go any further, radiation has caused more death than this, than COVID-19. And if we want to really get deeper, psychic attacks and black magic have caused more death than this within a year. So don't tell me that this thing is all that dangerous. And I'm not trying to underestimate it. And at the same time, it's not as bad as people and the media made it out to be. Simple as that. It's not as bad. And so, like I said before, basically, we just have to get our stuff together. We have to really reevaluate ourselves. We have to deal with our shadows and heal it. And face it. Face our shadows. Face ourselves. By only doing that, can we also help others to do the same. And that's what I've been doing. I've been helping people, whether it's online or whatever the case, to do that. Because everyone else is definitely going to need help. And as for us, healers and various other people like us, who are out helping and things like that, light workers, shamans, various other types of metaphysicians out there, for those who are real, I would say for real, and actually are into the work itself, we're going to have to prepare ourselves, because we're going to be very busy with various people who are going to be coming to us for some help, who are going to be coming to us for us to help. But before we do that, though, right now we need to just be within ourselves more, and actually just heal ourselves, and elevate ourselves, and elevate our mind, read books, meditate, definitely, like I said, do the things that you want to do that you haven't really got a chance to do in a long time. If you want to spend time with more of your family or friends and things like that, you should do that. You should do what makes you happy. And even though, yes, we need to take precautions in this changing world that's been going on, and at the same time, we should still live our lives and be the best people that we can be. And one of the key things by being that way is to start trusting that there's more than enough for everybody. That we don't have to take everything and hoard it all. Because hoard is just basically a real definition of greed. A lot of people may think, this person has $1 million or more, he's greedy. That's not what greed really is. What greed really is that people having millions or even more, or not just even millions of dollars, but pretty much the stuff or things, whether it's food, money, power, whatever, having these kind of things and a lot of it, and thinking that there's not enough for everybody. The scarcity mentality is what I'm talking about. We have to stop with the scarcity mentality. That's what the real definition of greed really is. It's this way of thinking, of getting the things that we want and hoarding it, thinking there's not enough for everybody. We need to stop that. We need to start learning and knowing that there's more than enough for everybody. We are living in an abundant world. We do live in an abundant universe. And we just have to start trusting and knowing that we can get the things we want and need. But the people have to start also realizing that too. We all have to start realizing that. So do you. You have to start realizing that, and one of the key things is also to learn to control our minds. Learn to control what comes in our minds, and also learn to control what we keep in our minds or our mouths and things like that. Because, like I said before, there are many things out there that are out to manipulate and cause problems and even just, like I said before, manipulate, cause problems, control. And what this is right now is not just social distancing is what's going on, but what's really going on is social control. That's what's been going on. So there are certain people in our world that don't want us to think for ourselves or to be educated rather than indoctrinated. You know what I mean? Or not, or rather be indoctrinated. We need to be more educated again. And educated doesn't have to necessarily mean bringing things in. Educated means bringing things out of somebody. Indoctrination is the opposite. I'm trying to add more and program somebody to do what they want to do, not what is right in interest for a certain individual, or individuals for that matter. You know, and so, like I said, I'm just been, like I said, really seeing things how as they are, and seeing things too, and how things can change. Now, another thing I want to, and speaking of, like, like I said, again, people need to be more honest with each other and things like that. We also got to start being more honest with ourselves and be more honest with what our motivations are and certain things. Like, as of late, I've also been hearing other things, whether it's local, but it's also been happening around the country too, in various social media outlets and things like that. That various, businesses were told to close down, that are non-essential and so forth. But there are still people who are still operating, to make money, because we all got to eat. We all got to make money in some way or another. And there's been plenty of people right now who are not working because of this shutdown and things like that. So there are people who are unemployed right now and things like that. And so there are people who are hurting as far as financially. I mean, they got to, feed their families and things like that, and they didn't expect this to happen to them in that way. Even though a lot of people may think they have secure jobs, and some jobs are secure, but there are others that are not. And yet they still have opportunities to still work and so forth. And yet, so there are various people, whether they are operating self-employment businesses or just businesses in general, and different things that are non-essential, there are people that are still working and still making money and things like that. And yet, there are people out there, who are just going around saying, oh, I'm going to report this person who is still doing business and so forth. Because there are, I guess, people within the government are saying they report this, business if you're seeing people operating, they're not supposed to be operating. And so that's what's been going on. There's been so much of this control that's been going on that we can't even really do as much with what's been going on in order to, quote-unquote, protect us from this virus. And yet, what people are not seeing is that there's a lot of other stuff that's going on. Like, for instance, I'm sure there's plenty of businesses and people that are still working. I've still seen people selling food out and things like that. And yet, all these people are saying this on Facebook, on various other social media. Oh, I'm going to report this person. What's the number? I'm going to report this person and so forth. Now, first of all, why are you going to go out of your way, first and foremost, for those who want to report people so much, who are non-essentials, to do this? Why are you butting into other people's business when it's not yours? In the way I look at it. The fact is, if people want to sell, let them keep selling. And if you really are, and the truth of the matter is, if they're not supposed to, let the law handle it. Let the law enforcement handle it. Let those in authority handle it. Not you. You need to stay out of people's business. And why am I saying it that way? Why am I being this way? When I see people, or when I hear people when I hear people say certain things, or say, I'm going to report this person because he's not supposed to be doing this, he or she are not supposed to be doing that, I'm going to report this person, and I started thinking, you know what, there's something else behind it, what you're saying. What you're saying is not totally what it really is. In other words, some people will say, well, I want to prevent the spread of disease, I want to stop the disease from happening more, and to come my way, and things like that, even though sure you may be thinking about your own survival of the disease, or the virus and so forth, but what it really is, there's something else behind it. I've been seeing through this. I've been seeing through even when I don't see their faces, but I see their the writings and stuff like that on Facebook groups and different other things. That there's ulterior motives behind these reportings, or people trying to report various businesses and things like that. I just really feel more so ulterior motives of why they want to do this than what they say. I mean, some of them, they say, oh, they want to see justice, or they want to see people obey the laws and things like that, and whatever the case. And I'm sure there maybe you can count to 5, you can count with one hand, and that's probably how many people really want justice. But if there's any more than that, but we're talking about by hundreds or so, it's usually because people have ulterior motives for reporting people. I mean, what is it exactly? What's the ulterior motive? Could it be the fact that somebody's out there making money and you're not because you were making some money at a job, but that you have to shut down and you're not getting the money easily, but yet they are in a sense? Or is it the fact that the person is actually doing good in this business or this job or whatever, and you're jealous or you're angry, you're hating? Or you just simply hating on a certain individual in general, and you just want to use COVID-19, as an excuse to bring the person down, or to bring somebody down, or bring a business down. Or maybe you don't like a certain business, or you don't like a certain person running a business, so you want to use that as an excuse and opportunity to bring someone down, to shut someone down. Just the fact that you got shut down. You see what I'm saying? There's ulterior motives that people have. So you guys need to really check that. Check those ulterior motives and check why you're really doing this. Because I guarantee you, I'm not buying, I seriously doubt that it's about justice, okay? Because let me ask you something. Y'all didn't care about justice. Y'all didn't care about all this stuff beforehand. So come on. Let's get real about this. Let's get real about this. Y'all were not about justice justice. If you were going to report anything, it was because you wanted to bring someone down or whatever. And because if there was any real crimes and so forth that was happening around you, you would have been like, nope, I'm just keeping my mouth shut. Nope, I don't want to get killed. No, I don't want any problems. And yet, when it comes down to something that's actually authentic, that people are not breaking any laws and everything, sure, they may be disobeying some orders and so forth. But like I said, people have to do something to survive. If they're not even though a lot of people are talking about, we're going to get a stimulus check of $1,200 from the government and so forth, but who's to say how soon it'll arrive? Who's to say that, that something else may not happen that's going to say, we can't do this now, we got to do it for this project, or we have to do it for this research, or whatever the case. And all I'm saying here is that we cannot depend on the government. We can't just depend on anyone or outside source to always bail us out or give us the money. We have to find ways sometimes to do things for ourselves, too. So I'm speaking this way because I am fortunate that I can still be able to work my business a bit through online. I can still be able to go out and work my jobs, and so is Rainbow. She can work her jobs, too. So, and at the same time, I know not everyone's fortunate, but not everyone's unfortunate either. And so I've been hearing a bunch of people do work at Walmart and various other, cashiers and people who are working. For those of us who are working, great, and I'm happy that we are working, and always count your blessings that you're working. And for those who are not working as much or not working at all, please back off of us. Back off of those who are working. Don't be giving us a hard time. Don't be giving, cashiers a hard time at Walmart or various other stores, grocery stores. So don't give these people a hard time just because you're having a hard time. Just because your life is a little hard right now doesn't mean you got to make it hard for everyone else. And that's what I'm saying too. I'm saying to a fact that, if we're having a hard life, then we need to get really deep within ourselves and really look at it in a hard way. Look at ourselves, look at yourself in the mirror, and change that. Don't take your anger out on the rest of the world about this, because not everyone's at fault, except for, basically it's not our fault, it's not the cashier's fault that your life is so hard. Things are happening for a reason. It's not fair. But you know what? Like I said before, in so many ways, we created this. We need to find a way to solve this problem. We created this. We created a scenario for ourselves. So we have to stop pointing fingers and blaming and just look at ourselves in the mirror and just say, you know what? Fine. I will see what I can do better to make this world a better place to live, or make this world to help other people out and things like that. And like I said before, there's people, y'all got to just stop trying to bring everybody down. Because I guarantee you were doing this beforehand. You were trying to find a way to bring someone else down, or you had your jealousy before, or you had your anger towards somebody. There's ulterior motives in you guys for doing certain things, for reporting people, or going around committing crimes and things like that. You had ulterior motives to begin with. You had ulterior motives for a long time within you. It just grew and grew and grew and grew, and then when an opportunity presented itself, bam. Now it's time to react. Now it's time to do something. Now it's time to, but yet you're not doing anything out of love. You're doing things out of fear. You know? And it's time that we need to get back to more loving ways. And at the same time, we can still be professional, and we don't have to be friends with everybody that's around us. And at the same time, we need to at least be better for ourselves and be better for each other and for other people. You know? Even if it means, saying hi, how you doing, and so forth. We're saying this out of habit, but when was the last time you actually really want to know how the person is actually doing? Whether you really know the person or not. When was the last time we actually say how you're doing, what's going on, and actually are concerned for that, actually want to hear the person, or are excited to hear what the person's feeling, or people reciprocating in return and say the same thing? When was the last time we did that? When was the last time we did things like this? I remember there was a time, when I was growing up, that there used to be more connection. There used to be more, people playing outside and kids playing outside and things like that. Nowadays, not that I'm saying the video games and everything are bad, because I was a video game person myself. I haven't been a video game person in years, and there's part of me that's a little bit sad about it. But at the same time, I also have became something else to a point where I feel, that people can be proud of, and I'm proud of. Which is being a healer, really going out and helping, making a difference in people's lives and things like that, And in so many ways, like I said before, the video games are not a bad thing, but people are spending way too much time in video games and not enough out in the real world and outside in the real world. Because the real world we can learn a lot in the real world too, and bring within us, a lot of lessons and so forth that the real world can teach us, that sometimes the video games themselves cannot be able to, or TV itself will not be able to. So, yes, so this whole social distancing, we definitely need to really reevaluate ourselves and our relationships. We really need to, and one of the key things that we need to do is, like I said, know that there's more than enough for everyone. There's more than enough, people. There's more than enough, resources, things and more than enough opportunities for everybody. But we have to cut out with this scarcity mentality. Stop being so much fear. Stop only looking for only survival. Because when you start to really think about your only survival, then at some point you'll become a narcissist. Because it's not just about your survival as a physical well-being or whatever the case. It's also going to be a survival of your status. It could be a survival of the things you have or persona and things like that. It could be your survival of your positions in your jobs or whatever in life. And you all want to protect that. And at the same time, you also got to remember, there's always someone that can either take it from you if you're not very careful, or you could just lose it in your own way, because you got yourself in your own way to begin with. So, like I said before, we need to do better for ourselves. And one of the key things that we need to do definitely is to stop having this narcissistic attitude and not be so self-absorbed. There have been times I have been guilty of that too, my own self. But at the same time, I don't necessarily stay in that for very long. I will, see through it and just check myself on that and then heal that and get over it, And even when you get angry and so forth, you find a way to get over it. Because emotions can also do it. Emotions can also tear up your own immune system. We can do that for our own selves. A virus doesn't have to help get us sick. We can do that for our own damn selves. A lot of people don't know this, don't think that, don't believe that it is, but our own emotions, our own way of thinking can also make us sick. Because we can also psychic attack our own selves. We can drain our own selves too. With our attitudes and things like that. So we really need to check ourselves up and make sure that we are actually in alignment with ourselves and alignment with various people around us that are also in alignment with us. You see? Excuse me. So, I don't know. I mean, I just wanted this man. Because we are going to a changing world. It's not going to be the same after this. You got to know that, and you also got to know that there's more out there in this world than people think. You know, and like I said before, we just got to learn how to eat right, do different things better, and things like that. You know, and that's the idea. So, wow, what else do I need to say? And also, do your best too to start being more critical, and just start thinking more critically. About things in life or about the media and things like that. Because, like I said, not everyone. I mean, the media people, the news, especially the mainstream news, are not here for your best interest. They're here for their own interests. They're getting paid millions of dollars to manipulate you, millions of dollars to make fun of you, or make millions of dollars to play games with your mind and mess with your mind. You know, that's what they're doing. That is what they're doing. That is a very high form of black magic, according to David Wilcock of DivineCosmos.com. You may want to check him out. DivineCosmos.com. You want to check him out because this guy really knows his stuff, and he sees through a lot of the BS. And David Icke's another good one too that sees through the BS. So you may want to also check him out as well too. And at the same time, like I said before, one of the key things is to learn how to just see through things and learn. And for those who are into business and who want to get into business and so forth, that's good. One of the key things I would advise you all to do is learn how to do marketing, learn how to do sales, learn how to do promotions and stuff like that. Because through all this alone, learning these kinds of things, you can see through the BS of the media, the advertisements and the copies and all kinds of stuff. You'll be able to see through whether it's really for real or whether it's smoke screens or fake and things like that. See, that's the idea. So you just have to just know, for those who are really into the marketing and things like that, to study marketing to this fullest, study from the greatest experts. And I'm not talking about go to university and get a degree in business is one thing. But it's a different thing to also really learn from those who are actually living it and actually are making the millions of dollars or thousands of dollars or making the money out of actually running businesses. So if you can find someone who actually runs businesses and actually are successful at it, and they actually are coaching people to do so, you should take their courses and learn from them. So, and as far as us healers are concerned, it's just time for us to just get deep within ourselves and get ready to do the healing for ourselves and our families and our friends, and then we can extend that throughout the world. Because at some point after this is all this blows over, there are going to be a lot of people who want to get our help, and so we just got to prepare ourselves for them. And for those who really don't want to help, or who don't want the actual help, but they think they do, and they want to take advantage of it, and they're not coachable or whatever, you have more than every right to throw them away. To just say, goodbye, we can't work together. Or something like that. Or let them kick themselves out. You don't deserve to have abuse. You don't deserve to have anybody who's not committed to working with you. So just keep that in mind. Let me see. Oh yeah, one last note before I go. I was talking to one of my colleagues yesterday, and he was telling me this, and he had a good point. He was telling me stock up because there have been some sayings, of course, that we may have it shut down for maybe 3 days to 2 weeks. We may have to stay home for a good while and things like that, and because of other things that are going to be happening, which I'm not going to disclose right now. Well, or like I said, if you want to, go to Rainbow's latest one of her videos called "Wake Up," March 19th, 2020. And so, like I said, basically there has been so much controversy that's been going on in this world. Oh, well, I guess let me. Sorry, let me close this up. YouTube is popping up various videos, so. Anyways, like I said before, him and I were talking about. He was telling me that we should all stock up not just for that time frame, for the 2 weeks or whatever it is, but we should even stock up for afterwards, after this whole thing blows over, especially after the stimulus check comes in to everyone's bank account or everyone's pocket. And the reason why he said that was because, and I'm saying it the same way with you guys need to stock up, because after everyone gets the stimulus check and after all this blows over, there's going to be a bunch of people once again who are going to lose control of themselves and go out and start buying stuff to such a degree that it's going to be a madhouse. Just like how people were fighting over toilet paper, only this time they're going to have all this money and they're going to start going out and start buying just anything that they can see. Because once again, people are still like sheep. You still don't get it. You still could easily be programmed. You can be programmed like a robot, and then it's like, and then you start moving. Everyone just twitch the nipple and you start moving. Hate to be vulgar like that, but the point of the matter is that people are going to start going crazy. People are going to start buying everything else to a point where, and once again, they're going to have to start keeping order around and say, okay, listen, you're going to have to go to a store 100 people at a time. They're going to start having long lines, and people have to go in a certain number at a time to keep order until real order is stored in our society again. But it's going to get out of order. So what he was saying, and what I'm saying here now, is start storing up and start storing up your food and everything else that you need, and just start, like I said before, just start doing that, not just for any time that you may be having a shutdown, but even after all this is over and people are starting to get their stimulus checks, and then it says, okay, we're good, the virus is gone, or whatever they say they're going to say, boom, they're going to start running. Start running towards those stores. Gas stations are going to be so low right now. They're already going low right now. They already have gone low, and they're going to continue to go low. It's just one of those things. And because of Saudi Arabia lowering gas prices, it's going to get crazy. It's going to get crazy. So really prepare yourself on all levels. Prepare yourself to just really have more than enough. And what I mean by having more than enough, remember this. You want to store stuff, and I'm going to tell you this, I'm going to give you a secret right here. If you want to store stuff, remember this. You have two choices. You can either do it out of fear and hoard everything and think it's not enough for everyone, or you can do it out of the love for yourself, your family, and those in your environment around you, and know and feel for yourself that you have that you want to get this because you want to have more than enough, not just for yourself, but probably for your next door neighbor, maybe for your other neighbors around you, or maybe you and your neighbors could collaborate and share your resources. Just a thought. Just a thought. Because like I said before, it's going to get crazier. This world is changing. And people's shadows, if they're not healed, or people's egos, if it's not healed, are going to come out like locusts, in a sense. And there's already been locusts going around in different parts of the world right now. Africa and various other things. There's a lot of things that are going on. Pestilence and famine and all kinds of stuff. So we really need to deal with this because Earth is, like I said, is reacting too. Because of all the damage and stuff that we've done to Earth. And that we have allowed various other people to have done to Earth. That we have allowed various other types of psychic vampirism to be plaguing our planet and plaguing our society and so forth. And we really need to take a good look at it. And so one of the key things also for people to start learning is learn something about psychic vampirism. And we actually do have various other videos that teaches that. So you may want to check that out too. It's just, so click in, go ahead, and if you want to Google psychic vampirism by Bear Rainbow or by Bear or by Rainbow, I'm sure you'll find some videos and some articles and things like that. And we're going to continue to do more articles and videos and various other teachings regarding psychic protection and other forms of healings when we start creating our own Patreon account, and we launch that pretty soon. Because at some point, we've really been holding ourselves back in so many ways of giving certain people information. And we want to start giving it to those who really want it. And so, pretty soon we will let you know. We will announce it when we have our Patreon out. And that way, for those who are really interested in signing up, they can sign up and become members, and for membership fees and things like that. Because, like I said, for those who really want to pay, or those who really want to have that knowledge, and who are those who take it seriously, and success rate gets higher than people believe. And people want to believe. Because, like I said before, through Patreon, I really know that we can really totally teach those who really want to learn, and to teach those who are genuine and really want to walk the healing path. Because not all healers, not all people within the metaphysical community, unfortunately, are there for the right reasons. They're not getting power or getting anything for the right reasons. They're doing this because either it's a fashionable thing to do, or they just think that, it's just something that they want to do. But yet, how serious are they if they're not changing for the better? How serious are they if you're really not being effective in the world, and yet you want to call yourself healer? There's a lot of people right now parading around, acting like they're healers and things like that. And I'm sure they have some healing ability, but not enough of it to really heal themselves, or not enough of it to want to also heal others in a way that's going to be more effective. Because they have not stretched themselves either outside the box, or they have simply not, they haven't stretched outside the box, but they're also not willing to change themselves to be better than they were yesterday or today and things like that. You see, and so there are healers too that, plus a lot of them are not even healing with their own shadows. A lot of them are just simply get trapped in this particular philosophy of the love and light. Love and light, there's nothing wrong with love and light, because love and light is a very powerful thing. At the same time, I have to be honest with you, during this New Age movement that has happened about, I would say, over 20 years ago, well, look what happened. The psyops and different things like that within our shadow government actually programmed the New Age movement and various people within that spirituality and things like that to think, only love and light, nothing dark. Don't bring up the darkness. Don't bring up this. Don't bring up that. There are things in this world that are evil. There are things in this world that are bad, and that bring things out of balance, and things need to be bringing in balance. And so, many of the people in the metaphysical community, y'all have been bamboozled too. Y'all have been had. Y'all have been had so damn much to a point where you start thinking that, everyone has, the light. Everyone is good. Everyone is this. That's not necessarily, because y'all are not good for even yourselves. You see, there are those who are vampires within our own community and healers and things like that. And we got to check them. We got to let them know, hey, you're not walking your path the way you think you are. And y'all need to check yourselves too. Because so many of you like to come at certain people with judgments, with ridicule or anger, because certain people have different philosophies than you. And also too, especially the fact that many of the people within the metaphysical community have had anger issues towards those who want to make money, or who run businesses or commercial businesses and things like that. There are those of us who want to elevate ourselves so we can become a better service of the world. But you cannot become a better service of the world if you're poor, or if you're not taken seriously, or if you're not even right for yourself, or you haven't even totally have enough power in order to heal other people, or even heal yourself for that matter. So guys, I'm urging anyone else out there, for those who are for real, and for those who are getting for real, get within yourself and get deep within yourself. Get deep within yourself, meditate, and if there's any darkness that comes out, guess what? Deal with it. Deal with the darkness. Go within it. Go towards the darkness. Why? Because that is the truth. The darkness is the truth. The darkness is the one that'll get you the truth, so eventually you can get to the light. You hear me? Darkness is the truth. So eventually the shadow, once you deal with it, whether you get rid of it, or transmute it, or integrate it, Either which way you go about it, make sure you heal it. Make sure you go through this, because once you do either one of those three, then it'll lead you to light. You gotta have both and have a good balance of both in order to be really functioning as a person, as a human being, as a multi-dimensional being. Yep. So, like I said before, let those who are walking their own path, let them be. You know, you don't have to agree with everything we say. You don't have to agree with everything anyone else says. Just agree to disagree on certain issues. But let's do our best to work together. Let's do our best to come as a community. Because for far too long, we metaphysicians, whether it's sidekicks, shamans, and various other things that are labels that we have, we've been fighting with each other. We've been twirling energy, we've been throwing energy at each other, various forms of psychic attack. And there are those who are out there that are malevolent in psychic and being psychic attackers and things like that. Who know about this, but then they see people who are all into this love and light, and they laugh at you. And the thing about it is, do your best to definitely understand other people, and really do your best to celebrate their differences rather than tolerate it. Because by celebrating it, at least, by respecting people's differences, we can also respect our differences within ourselves. And that way we can really be a better community in helping each other out. And that way we can really be about the love and light, while also integrating, transmuting, or getting rid of various aspects of our shadow, various aspects of our unhealed ego. Because there is a difference between pride and ego. That's for sure. So, I don't know how long this will last in regards to this thing. It's regarding, social distancing and things like that. But however, how long it really lasts is really up to us, more so than it is Donald Trump, President Trump, than it is our own government, than it is our police department, or any other thing. It's really up to all of us to really find out how long we're going to have this social distancing situation. And can we really be better for ourselves? Can we be better for our own people? Can we be better for the world? Just looking at the clouds right now. I'm just trying to check it out, and I'm looking in the wind. It's a little windy out there right now as we speak. So, all I'm saying here is let's just do our best now to really deal with our shadow. And if you want to come for some help, make sure that you're ready to change. If you're coming for anyone for something, it doesn't have to just be me, or it doesn't have to be Rainbow or any of my students. It can just be anyone else. Be ready for some real change in your life. Be ready for some changes. In other words, stop expecting that you're going to come out the same way. Because a lot of people have this idea that healing is supposed to be, oh yes, all smooth and everything. Yet, according to Michael Bethwick, he says this: we all want to change our outer reality, but not change anything within us. And he said this for himself. That's not possible. And you know what? When he said it, it hit. It hit me right here, because I know now, and I've been knowing this for a while, but now I'm really knowing this, and I'm really going to be living it. I'm really utilizing it to change here, if you're going to change out there. It has to coincide, guys. It has to coincide. Or otherwise it's not going to work. And you're really going to make it harder for yourself. Especially as times are coming that this whole world is going through an evolutionary change. This entire planet is going through an evolutionary change to a point where we're going to start evolving in many ways. And we have to prepare ourselves for that on all levels. On all levels. And we are multidimensional beings. So we need to start really seeing things multidimensionally too. to say the least. So, and one of the key things is what we need to do too is also forgive. And forgive and meaning it doesn't mean like we're allowing people to walk all over us or anything like that. What we're forgiving is just forgiving with their experiences, forgiving other people, forgiving many other things, aspects of ourselves, even ourselves, and knowing that we are getting free from this prison that we put ourselves, or a prison that's been around us. Forgiveness means we're freeing ourselves. We're giving our power. We're taking our power back. That's what this means. Take your power back. And forgiveness is one of the ways that you can take your power back. And another way to take our power back, well, in this situation and beyond, is to start having gratitude and appreciation for what you do have, for what you're growing into, and then opportunities that are surrounding itself. With every crisis, there's opportunity. Just know that. Just know that every crisis is an opportunity. In other words, what I'm saying is we all have to start thinking differently. We all need to have a different mindset in order for us to really thrive in this world. Not just survive, but to thrive as well. Because when we do thrive, we can always be able to lift those up who are just surviving to go beyond survival. That's for sure. Anyways, so when this blows over, and when you're ready to come to us, you know where to find us. BearRainbow.com. BearAndRainbow.com. You can find us on our website, and you can also sign up for our Psychic Protection app in regards to our latest announcements for different events and different articles and videos and things like that. Also, you can also sign up for our YouTube, as well as our Facebook. And last but not least, like I said, when the Patreon comes up, we'll let you know, and that way you can start signing up and become members of our Patreon. So I just want to let you know that it's coming up pretty soon. So just be patient, and at the same time, just be patient with yourself too. Anyways, I'm gonna get going. I've talked long enough, and I think I'm getting my throat's starting to get dry up a little bit. I haven't had water. It's about over an hour. Sheesh, I haven't talked this much in a long time, except when I was with Rainbow for one of the other videos. But in any event, I really want to express this because there has been far too much, of this social distancing that's gone on way longer than y'all realize, and I think it's time that somebody talks about this, like myself, and points it out to you so you can have a better idea of what you can do for yourself and for others and see things differently so you can do things and live differently, to say the least. So, anyways, you guys can come out of this. You're strong enough to do so. You're strong enough to create this. If we're strong enough to create this, we're also strong enough to recreate our own reality in different ways. Even though, yes, we have various people around us who may have certain authoritative control, but even that is starting to fall. Even they are starting to have a real fall. There's a certain saying I guess various Rastafarians are saying, Babylon is falling. And it's falling hard. What I mean by that, like I said before, go to our Patreon. Go start subscribing to our newsletters, subscribing to our stuff, because like I said, you've yet to hear anything out of us. You've yet to hear anything, and we're going to continue to do some content free, but the real stuff, we'll let you know when you're ready. That's all I'm going to say on that. All right, now I gotta go. I'm standing Bear on the Heart once again. And like I said, look at the bottom. You can see some information that you can, go and start signing up for and things like that. All right, now, stay safe, stay healthy. More important, stay you. I'm going to get going, so I'll talk to you later. And many blessings to you all. Healing is all that is.